What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Bulls Report. My name is Patrick Seatman, and coming up on today's show, we are doing a mailbag here on the channel where I answer questions from you guys. This is part of our weekly live show that we may start doing here on the channel every single week. So appreciate you guys tuning in. But again, if you guys want a question in there, hit that subscribe button. Best way to get your thoughts up here on the show. But see Red All Day coming in with the first question saying, could you see the Bulls trading for Mitchell Robinson? Hashtag Bulls. Interesting thought there. I'm assuming this would be, maybe facilitated in a Nikola Vucevic trade, but, I just don't necessarily know how the Bulls do it without trading Vooch. And plus, if they do keep Vooch on the roster, they're not going to roll with three centers of Vooch, Mitch, Rob, and Jalen Smith. So, good question, but yeah, I just don't really see that being the case unless they do end up trading, Nikola Vucevic. But Alex Andrade coming in with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much, my man, saying, is there no trade market for Zach or Vooch because front office and Bulls franchise a joke right now? Yeah, we'll sit on this here for a second, Alex. Interesting thought. Because, immediately when I saw this question, I was like, there is no way that the Bulls are wearing a Bulls uniform, diminishes your value on the market. However, other teams' front office could be saying, why are the Bulls in such a terrible position that they are in right now? Because Zach LaVine and Nikola Vucevic has kept them in NBA purgatory. But I do think the biggest reason why they're still on the team is, Zach LaVine's got a terrible contract. He's got a plethora of injuries throughout his NBA career. Nikola Vucevic, what does he really do for winning? Has he been the most winning basketball player? He can put up the 18 and 10. He can put up the offensive stats, but really what has Vooch, done to contribute to winning at the highest level? I think that has more to do with it than them just wearing a Bulls uniform. But, Alex, I really do appreciate you. But Saya coming in next, saying, I believe we could get some second-round picks for Nikola Vucevic because 17 and 11 is hard to come by, especially when you have centers in this league who are all stars. Yeah, I agree with that. I just think the biggest holdup with the Nikola Vucevic trade is, you think about his archetype of center. He can't protect the rim. He's not a lob threat. His type is more of that stretch five. He has some playmaking ability when he's attacking off the pick and roll, and he's got 4-on-3 with an advantage, and he's solid there. But I think overall, when you're talking about Vooch, yes, maybe he's a B- offensive player. Put up that 17-11. He can be great there. He's got really good touch around the rim as well. But in my opinion, he is an F defensive player. Ends up probably evening out at a D+, makes him an overall net negative out there on the basketball court. So the 17-11 is great, but I also do think it's a little misdeceiving, in terms of evaluating, Nikola Vucevic's whole value out there on the market. But maybe they could end up getting some second-round picks for him. Obviously, have to wait and see. But no Skyline Chili, love this, saying, will Julian Phillips take a leap in year 2? Yeah, Julian Phillips looks great so far in Summer League. You see the athleticism. You see the, rim pressure he's able to put on, pretty consistently. And, I'm hoping Julian Phillips is one of those guys for the Bulls where, they just continue to develop him. They just don't, literally, they just don't end up, giving up on him like they have done for players in the past. I still think about Lauri Markkanen. Yes, Lauri frustrated me immensely as a Bulls fan, but we saw the leap he had once he just, added that extra, part of his game. I think Julian Phillips, he's got the athletic ability. He's got the jump shot, honestly, as well, to develop into a great 3-and-D player. And if you just think about it, what if the Bulls could have a core on the perimeter of Julian Phillips, Patrick Williams, and Modest Buzelis? If they all end up working out, you'd have 3 elite 3-and-D guys who are all super young. So, listen, I'm a believer in Julian Phillips. I just believe in that archetype of player, and I always will. It's something I'll always stay true to is those 3-and-D guys who are hyper athletes. I'll always bet on those guys, in comparison to any other type of player out there on the court. But hey, you guys let me know. Do you believe in Julian Phillips? Give me a Y for yes or an N for no down in the comments section. You guys let me know your thoughts down below. Rocky coming in with the next question saying, is LaVine's contract the biggest hurdle in trading him? Yeah, that's definitely number one. He's on the books for 5 years, $150 million the next, 3 seasons. So, yeah, no doubt on that. But I also do think the injury history and just, maybe the locker room for Zach LaVine. like, I don't think we talk about that enough as fans, where it's like, GMs talk, players talk, coaches talk. Like, if they're like, yeah, Zach LaVine was throwing a fit in the locker room the past couple of years, like, then other GMs, when they're talking to the Bulls, they're like, yeah, we got to take on his contract. He's not a good defender, and we've heard what he's like in the locker room. Like, I think those could all be reasons why LaVine, it's tough to trade him. But I think number one, no doubt, is the contract. Like, 3 years, $150 million remaining. It's a terrible deal. Plus, it's got the 15% trade kicker, which, yes, the Bulls do pay that, but I'm sure that, AKME, like, they don't want to give him up unless they're getting something back. But, yeah, definitely biggest hurdle is his contract. But E-Rich coming in with the next comment saying, I think AKME needs to reach out to the Nuggets on a Zach trade. They can use a 3-level scorer at the 2 guard, and I think he'll fit on the Pelicans instead of Vooch. Let's get Vooch to Toronto possibly. Okay, E-Rich, I'll have to break down here. Never really thought of the Nuggets as a team that could trade for Zach LaVine. It does make sense though, right? Like the Nuggets, maybe they would want to move off Aaron Gordon's contract and maybe they package something else. It would be very hard to facilitate a trade with the Nuggets. It would probably have to be extreme, 3-team trade. But yeah, I've never really thought about the Nuggets. I don't think it's too likely, but they kind of hit a wall last year. Like, they couldn't get past the Timberwolves. Maybe they view, Zach LaVine as that other scoring guard that could, help them get over the top. But I was saying Vooch to Toronto possibly. Don't hate it. Don't hate it. Maybe they just give you Bruce Brown and then the Bulls send off Bruce Brown elsewhere. That could be the situation because those two contracts end up matching. But yeah, if I had to bet money though, I do think Vooch would get to the Pelicans. But coming up next, Larry Wheel saying, how far away are the Bulls from competing for the Eastern Conference title? Very far. Just call it like it is. Don't want to get negative on today's show, but the Bulls are very far, and that's even more reason why I want this rebuild to happen and this youth movement to start fast, because I don't want us to be, let's just say we keep LaVine, we keep Vooch, and the Bulls, let's just say they get off to a hot start this year. Somehow it ends up working out, and they're, around 500 at the trade deadline. Like, the Bulls are just going to run it back again. Like, the Bulls are 2 moves away from having a very, very successful offseason. But in terms of competing in the Eastern Conference, there is not a single move out there, or there's not a, there's not 4 moves out there that the Bulls can make this offseason that would have them competing with the Knicks, the Celtics, the Sixers, the Bucks, or even close to them. If they matched up in a playoff series versus either of those teams, it would be 4-5 games at its absolute max, So, yeah, I think it's going to be a while, but, hey, number one way you get closer is, maybe you got to take a step back. But Ben Seaton coming in saying, what if the Bulls are actually better after trading LaVine and Vooch and make the playoffs? That's a great thing as well. So thank you so much for asking this, actually, Ben. Shout out to you. Yeah, so I've been in the camp. Yeah, we can just keep Ben up on here for a second. Ben, so I've been in the camp that the number one reason why to trade LaVine and Vooch is to have that top 10 pick next year convey. Because if it is not in the top 10, it goes to San Antonio. But with the youth movement the Bulls have right now, if you could scrap together a playoff experience with a bunch of 24, 22-year-olds, I think that would be more valuable to the Bulls' future than the top 10 pick. Because that means guys like Kobe White, Ayo, Giddey, Patrick Williams would have had to take a massive step. Jalen Smith would have taken a massive step. So, yeah, Ben, that would be awesome. Like, that would honestly be my dream scenario. If the Bulls trade LaVine and Vooch and they make the playoffs next season, because then also other free agents are looking around those guys and being like, I want to go play with them. And plus, they'll just up the value of the players on this team, because everyone would be like, how did the Bulls end up making the playoffs? Oh, well, Patrick Williams took a jump. Ayo took a jump. Kobe took a jump. Julian Phillips took a jump. Like, yeah, that would just be fantastic for the Bulls if that was the case. But Texas Governor McConaughey, Matthew McConaughey in the chat, saying, what is the latest on Zach LaVine? No real updates right now around LaVine. Have to wait and see, what happens there. We've heard some teams are, obviously interested in him, but we've also heard that there's no market for Zach LaVine. Like, it's incredibly tough to trade him. So, no real update on that front. But, yeah, appreciate the question, Matthew McConaughey. But if you guys made it to the end of today's show, first off, just want to say thank you so much. It's awesome if you guys stayed throughout this entire thing. and listen to my thoughts. But if you guys did, give me a real one down below in the comments section. I'll show you guys some extra love down there. But also, guys, I am on Twitter at Pat Seeps is a Twitter handle. We'll be tweeting about the Bulls all off season long and up until the regular season. So if you guys do give me a follow on Twitter, I'll give you guys a follow back. But thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys next time. Go Bulls.